You can lose your house faster for painting your fence the wrong shade of beige than for defaulting on your mortgage. Welcome to suburbia, where mowing your lawn 1 inch too short is treated like a federal crime, and inflatable Santas are apparently weapons of mass disruption. The Homeowners Association isn't about protecting property values, it's about weaponizing pettiness with the efficiency of the IRS and the creativity of a playground tattletale. These are the people who can bankrupt you over a basketball hoop, fine you for sidewalk chalk, and send threatening letters about your dog's waistline. And if you think that sounds bad, you haven't even met the real lunacy yet. 1. In some HOAs, leaving your garage door open is treated like a homeland security breach. You can unload groceries, work on your car, or breathe fresh air, but only if you operate on a stopwatch. Forget that your home is yours. According to the board, your slightly messy garage is a threat to neighborhood aesthetics. It's less about property values and more about power. If you've ever wanted to feel like a criminal for owning a lawnmower, just leave that door cracked for an extra 30 seconds. That ticket on your doorstep? Consider it your new curb appeal violation. 2. HOAs don't just want green lawns, they want government-approved shades of green. Too lime? Fine. Too yellow? Fine. Too alive? Also fine. Some associations literally hand out paint chip color cards for grass. It's basically a Photoshop filter, but enforced with fines. So while you're standing in the sun, sweating over fertilizer, your HOA is debating whether your yard screams vibrant zest instead of somber ivy. It's lawn care as performance art, only with penalties. Imagine if hospitals treated patients this way. Sorry, your blood is slightly too crimson. We'll have to write you up. 3. Portable basketball hoops? According to many HOAs, those are contraband. Your kids may think they're shooting hoops. The board thinks you're harboring a weapon of mass disorder. Rules often require you to wheel it away the second playtime ends, like some suburban black market operation. Nothing screams family-friendly, quite like a group of retirees on folding chairs, calling code enforcement because your 10-year-old made a layup. The message is clear. Joy is forbidden. Dribbling is terrorism, and the sound of kids laughing is apparently worse than a chainsaw at 3 a.m. 4. Trash bins have curfews. Put them out too early? Violation. Leave them out too late? Violation. Take them in on time but forget to angle the lid at the HOA-approved 45-degree alignment? You guessed it. Violation. Something as simple as garbage collection has been turned into a high-stakes stealth mission. You're basically Tom Cruise in Mission. Impossible, except instead of defusing a bomb, you're dragging a bin without waking the clipboard brigade. Imagine explaining to your kids, "We can't play outside, Timmy. Daddy's on probation because the recycling touched the curb too soon." 5. Holiday decorations are allowed. Briefly, your inflatable Santa can go up the Friday after Thanksgiving, and he must be executed by the first week of January. Leave him inflated 1 day too long and your New Year's resolution becomes, don't get sued over a blow-up snowman. HOAs don't regulate for taste, they regulate for power. Forget religious freedom. What really matters here is the tyranny of holiday timelines. Honestly, if Jesus came back in December, some HOA board would fine Mary for unauthorized nativity decor. 6. Got a company logo on your truck? Congrats, you're now an industrial disaster. HOAs love banning commercial vehicles from driveways. The same $80,000 pickup truck is totally fine when it's blank, but slap a magnetic decal on the door and suddenly it's visual pollution. These are the same people who claim to value entrepreneurship while fining you for reminding them how people actually make money. It's not an HOA, it's a suburban Hunger Games where the true villain is a vinyl sticker. 7. Lawn gnomes? Public enemy number 1. According to many HOAs, a small ceramic man in a pointy hat is an aesthetic violation. Same goes for flamingos, fairy houses, or basically anything whimsical. Because God forbid you inject an ounce of personality into your yard. These rules treat joy like it's contagious, and their mission is to stop the spread. Forget nuclear weapons treaties. Suburbia is waging its own Geneva Convention against ceramic dwarves. 8. Need to replace a mailbox? Sorry, you can't just buy one at Home Depot. Your HOA has an approved vendor, approved color, approved design, and probably an approved debt schedule to make you pay triple the price. The mailbox must be the exact shade of soulless suburban black with the regulation red flag. It's like buying government bonds, except it holds Bed Bath & Beyond coupons instead of money. Nothing screams freedom like being told what your junk mail holder should look like. 9. Thinking of selling your house to escape the HOA nightmare? Not so fast. You can't even use your realtor's normal sign. Nope, you're required to buy the HOA's official for sale sign, complete with approved fonts, colors, and sizes. Yes, they micromanage the design of the sign, advertising your desperate attempt to escape being micromanaged. It's like being trapped in a bad relationship where even your breakup letter has to be pre-approved. 10. Window coverings? Must be white or beige. Never mind your carefully curated interior design, the HOA only cares about what the neighbors see when they walk by. Want red curtains? Sorry, that's visual chaos. Patterned blinds? That's basically arson. They want every house to look like a blank, soulless void from the street. It's not uniformity, it's set design for a horror movie called Stepford Curtains. 11. Thinking of building a swing set for your kids? Buckle up, because your HOA requires a permit, a plot diagram, and maybe a blood sacrifice. Not only must the model be pre-approved, but its exact location in your yard must also be approved. Oh, and it has to be assembled by an authorized professional. A simple weekend project becomes a logistical nightmare. Forget bonding with your kids. You're bonding with an $800 invoice and a pile of paperwork. 12. Sidewalk chalk. Yes, the washable, cheerful stuff kids use to draw hopscotch is considered graffiti by many HOAs. That's right, the doodles of a 7-year-old are now equated to gang tags. Some boards even send formal violation notices about defacement of property. Imagine being the guy who spends his Saturday writing angry letters about a stick figure in pastel pink chalk. That's not enforcement, that's therapy avoidance. 13. Some HOAs judge your dog not by breed or behavior, but by weight. The limit? Often 40 pounds. So your sweet, lazy 41-pound bulldog is contraband, while your neighbor's 39-pound yapping terrier is a model citizen. It's pet control as a math problem. Owners have even had to bring their dogs to literal weigh-ins, like furry UFC fighters stepping on the scale. Your dog's future in the community comes down to whether it peed before measurement. 14. Growing vegetables in your front yard? Absolutely not. Many HOAs explicitly ban vegetable gardens visible from the street. Flowers you can't eat? Perfect. Shrubs with no purpose? Encouraged. But a tomato? That's an ugly blight on the landscape. They don't want residents being self-sufficient. They want you buying overpriced produce like everyone else. Honestly, it's less about beauty and more about capitalism in a flower bed. 15. Parking rules are often absurd. Some HOAs fine you if your car's tires touch the street instead of being entirely within your driveway. Others ban street parking altogether, unless you're a guest, and then only for a set number of hours. Imagine living in a neighborhood where the most controversial subject isn't crime or politics, but whether your Honda Civic's bumper is 2 inches too far. It's not a street anymore. It's a live-action game of operation. 16. Bird feeders? Often banned. Why? Because they attract wildlife. You know, the same wildlife that already lives outside. It's as if the HOA board believes cardinals and squirrels are plotting to overthrow the suburbs. In reality, the only thing being attracted is their uncontrollable urge to micromanage joy. Apparently, birds don't meet community standards, which makes me wonder how long before they fine actual children for laughing too loudly. 17. Clotheslines are illegal in many HOAs. That's right, saving energy and drying clothes in the sun is banned because it looks low class. Never mind that it's environmentally friendly and literally free, they'd rather you spend money on a power-hungry dryer so your underwear isn't visible from the cul-de-sac. Nothing says American dream like banning sunlight. Somewhere, Thomas Edison is laughing while the HOA mails another fine. 18. Some HOAs regulate how long your grass can be, usually no taller than a few inches, but they never stop to consider that grass is, a living thing. It rains, it grows, it defies clipboards. Yet here come the letters, treating your slightly tall lawn like a biological weapon. Forget that you were on vacation or sick. They'll act like you're cultivating a jungle. Meanwhile, the Amazon burns unchecked. But don't worry, Karen from the board is here to save the planet by demanding you mow before your grass reaches criminal intent length. Somewhere, Mother Nature is filing her own violation notice against suburbia. 19. Decorative flags? Banned. Except, of course, for the US flag, because patriotism is fine, but showing support for your favorite sports team? That's chaos. God forbid your neighbor's Sunday barbecue be ruined by the sight of a Dallas Cowboys banner. The HOA sees it as a threat to national security, as though a Green Bay Packers flag will suddenly collapse the housing market. They'll fine you for daring to hang a piece of fabric, while their own bylaws wave around like the world's ugliest flag of all: beige, soulless, and dictatorial. 20. Some HOAs actually regulate the color of your front door. Not the style, not the size, the color. Want a cheerful red door? Sorry, too spicy for the cul-de-sac. Black? Too edgy. Chartreuse? They'd faint on sight. The only acceptable shades are usually something between dead beige and mild depression gray. Apparently, individuality is a threat to property values. Imagine if America applied this logic everywhere. Sorry, your personality isn't HOA approved. Please repaint yourself to a neutral tone. 21. Fire pits are often banned, not because they're unsafe, but because they look unruly. Nothing says suburban harmony like banning fire, humanity's oldest comfort. You can own a grill that belches smoke into the sky, but a tiny fire pit for s'mores? That's dangerous anarchy. Honestly, these rules make cavemen look progressive. At least they didn't fine each other for gathering around flames. Somewhere, Prometheus is shaking his head, muttering, "I gave you fire, and you slapped a $250 violation on it." 22. Some HOAs ban trampolines claiming they're a safety hazard, which they are, but not in your own yard. Nope, the real crime is that the trampoline can be seen from the street. That's right, the sight of children bouncing is apparently worse than traffic accidents, drug use, or tax fraud. They don't care if your kid is healthy and happy, they just don't want their perfectly curated Stepford aesthetic interrupted by joy. Basically, a trampoline is to an HOA what garlic is to a vampire. 23. Driveways must often remain empty at night. No parking allowed, even if you own the car. Some HOAs demand your vehicles be tucked safely in the garage like misbehaving toddlers. Because clearly, nothing lowers property values like a Toyota Camry peacefully existing on a driveway. It's not even about safety. It's about optics. The same people who hoard 6 cats in their house are horrified by the visual trauma of a parked car. Congratulations, your driveway has been downgraded to decorative concrete. 24. Some HOAs forbid residents from keeping clotheslines, claiming they make the neighborhood look poor. Yes, saving energy and drying clothes naturally is banned because nothing screams middle-class horror like visible socks in the wind. Forget sustainability. What really matters is making sure no one sees your boxer shorts flapping in the sun. Apparently, climate change isn't scary, but your neighbor's laundry is a 5-alarm emergency. If aliens ever visit Earth, the HOA will be the first to fine them for hanging their space pants outside the UFO. 25. Mailboxes aren't just regulated, they're sometimes measured. HOAs have exact height requirements, and if yours is too tall, too short, or 1 inch to the left, you'll get a fine. It's not a mailbox, it's a hostage. Forget that the US Postal Service has no complaints. This is about visual uniformity. Imagine living in a place where the stability of the housing market depends on whether your mailbox stands at precisely 42 inches. At this point, the only thing missing is HOA agents with tape measures, storming neighborhoods like suburban SWAT teams. 26. Some neighborhoods regulate how many holiday lights you can have on your house. Too bright, too colorful, too festive? Fine. They want twinkle, not sparkle. Basically, your roof must resemble a sad corporate lobby instead of a winter wonderland. Imagine the HOA holiday party. Fluorescent lights, beige cookies, and a PowerPoint presentation about approved wattage. Meanwhile, Clark Griswold is weeping in a corner, his entire career outlawed by a group of people who think joy should be rationed like canned beans in the apocalypse. 27. Believe it or not, some HOAs ban garage sales. Why? Because apparently, selling your old toaster and VHS tapes lowers property values. Forget that people are struggling. Forget that recycling is good. What really matters is protecting the neighborhood from the horror of folding tables and handwritten dollar signs. God forbid someone profit off their junk. Instead, the HOA insists you either throw it away or donate it. Translation: waste it or make it someone else's problem. Garage sales aren't messy, they're democracy, and that's why HOAs hate them. 28. Some HOAs regulate outdoor furniture. Not whether it's safe, not whether it's functional, whether it's tasteful. Plastic chairs? Trashy. Mismatched tables? Offensive. Anything bought at Walmart? You might as well have spray-painted failure across your porch. They want curated patio sets that look like they were ripped from a Pottery Barn catalog. The irony? Half of these HOA board members are sitting on fold-up chairs while writing your violation letter. 29. In some communities, you can't even feed stray cats. Yes, compassion is outlawed. The HOA argues it attracts wildlife. Apparently, a starving cat is less of a problem than a well-fed one. So if you put out a bowl of kibble, you're basically considered a criminal mastermind luring an army of raccoons. They want you to look at a hungry animal and say, "Sorry, buddy, property values." Congratulations, Suburbia has officially outlawed kindness. 30. Basketball nets attached to garages? A major violation. Some HOAs argue they damage the look of the home. Yes, because the sight of kids playing basketball is apparently a bigger aesthetic crime than beige vinyl siding and half-dead shrubs. Meanwhile, these same boards hold meetings under fluorescent lights that make everyone look like they've been embalmed. If joy is the enemy, basketball is public enemy number one. Somewhere, Michael Jordan is getting fined by the HOA just for existing. 31. There are neighborhoods where you can't keep more than 2 pets. Not exotic animals, not dangerous creatures, just pets in general. 3 cats? You're a criminal. 2 dogs and a goldfish? That's a violation. The board apparently believes suburban homes will collapse under the weight of 1 extra guinea pig. Forget that half the board members have 6 grandkids destroying their own carpets. It's your 3rd cat that's really the menace. It's not animal control, it's joy control. 32. Some HOAs regulate the color of mulch in your yard. That's right, your choice of ground covering has been politicized. Red mulch? Too aggressive. Black mulch? Too goth. Natural brown? Only if it's the exact shade they like. It's not gardening, it's horticultural fascism. They claim it's about harmony, but let's be honest. No one has ever walked past a house and said, "That mulch ruined the neighborhood." Except, of course, an HOA president with nothing left to control. 33. Believe it or not, in some communities you can't even have solar panels. Yep, the one thing that might actually save you money and help the planet is considered an aesthetic disruption. They'd rather you burn coal than put a shiny rectangle on your roof. It's not about looks, it's about control. The sun is free, which makes it dangerous. Honestly, I'm surprised HOAs haven't tried to fine the actual sun for not being beige enough. 34. Some HOAs regulate the color of your shingles. You'd think a roof is just a roof, but no. Your roof has to be a carefully curated shade of corporate sad. Too dark? Too light? Too interesting? Fine. Forget hurricanes, leaks, or storm damage. What matters most is whether your shingles pass the HOA's fashion test. Basically, your house is forced to wear the world's most boring wig so that the cul-de-sac looks like a synchronized swimming team for beige rectangles. 35. Some HOAs ban hammocks in front yards because apparently a piece of cloth tied between 2 trees is the collapse of civilization. A hammock, in their eyes, is the visual equivalent of a meth lab. Never mind that you're just trying to read a book in the sun. They see you as a one-man Woodstock festival threatening suburban order. Honestly, banning hammocks is like banning naps. Cruel, unnecessary, and proof that these people will not rest until you can't either. 36. Certain neighborhoods outlaw driveway basketball lines. Not the hoop, not the ball, just the painted free throw line. Because nothing says property value like an HOA member having a breakdown over a faint white stripe on asphalt. They treat it like you've summoned Satan with chalk. Imagine explaining this rule to an alien. We let them own cars, but if they draw one little rectangle, it's Armageddon. Somewhere, James Naismith is spinning in his grave while clutching a violation notice. 37. Some HOAs dictate the height of your grass, but also ban artificial turf. So you're required to keep a living lawn that must never look alive. Fake grass? Too fake. Real grass? Too real. It's the botanical equivalent of demanding your spouse wear makeup 24/7, but never look like they're wearing makeup. Basically, it's Photoshop rules for chlorophyll. And if you ever wondered what it feels like to negotiate with Mother Nature under HOA law, the answer is exhausting and beige. 38. Certain HOAs actually regulate the type of curtains you can have inside your home. Not just the exterior color, they'll dictate the interior fabric too. That's right, Karen from the board is effectively standing in your living room, making sure your drapes aren't too sassy. Imagine inviting someone over and having to whisper, "Don't draw attention to the curtains. They're under investigation." This isn't governance, it's home decor fascism. And yes, people really get fined for polyester. 39. Many HOAs ban inflatable pools. A cheap plastic tub filled with water is considered a nuisance. But here's the kicker. They'll often allow permanent pools, as long as you spend $30,000 to install one. Translation: if you're poor, water is illegal. So your kid's $50 kiddie pool is outlawed, but the neighbor's six-figure lagoon with LED lights is fine. Apparently, water only lowers property values if it comes from Walmart. 40. Some HOAs regulate what time you can mow your lawn, which on the surface makes sense. Don't fire up the mower at 3 a.m. But some take it further, banning mowing on Sundays or even on holidays. Imagine standing in your yard with waist-high grass, sweating bullets, while a board member peeks from behind a curtain whispering, "Not today, sinner." It's lawn care turned into religion. Mow only on the holy days of HOA-approved calendars. 41. Certain neighborhoods forbid residents from keeping RVs in their driveway. Even if you own it, even if it fits, even if it's your only vehicle. To the HOA, an RV is not a vehicle. It's a rolling apocalypse. You can pay for it, insure it, register it. But if you park it at home, you're a barbarian. The irony? Half of these HOA presidents secretly dream of retiring into one. They just don't want you to. 42. Some HOAs actually fine you if your Christmas lights are too bright, as in measurable lumens. They'll send letters complaining that your house looks like the Vegas Strip, while theirs glows like a hospice waiting room. Never mind that the entire point of Christmas lights is visibility. They want a muted glow, like a candle vigil for crushed dreams. Somewhere, Clark Griswold is crying into his extension cords. 43. Certain boards ban clothes visible through windows. Yes, if you leave your laundry basket near a window, that's a violation. It's not just exterior order, it's interior surveillance. Imagine living in a neighborhood where the worst crime isn't burglary, it's your neighbors catching a glimpse of folded jeans. This isn't community standards, it's voyeurism disguised as law. Basically, you're living in a glass house where you're fined for throwing socks. 44. Some HOAs regulate the type of grass you can plant, going so far as to list approved seed brands. It's like Costco, but with fines. Imagine being told your grass has to be officially licensed Kentucky bluegrass, as though the NFL is scouting your lawn. Meanwhile, the neighbor's dog is treating it like a porta potty, but that's fine, because the brand of seed matters more than the actual function of grass. 45. There are neighborhoods that fine people for leaving bikes outside overnight. Forget that bikes are outdoor vehicles. Forget that kids use them daily. To the HOA, a bike in the driveway is an unspeakable blight. It's not a toy, it's visual terrorism. Which is hilarious because most of these neighborhoods are drowning in SUVs the size of tanks. But God forbid a neon Huffy lean against the garage. 46. Some HOAs regulate fences down to absurd details. Height, style, even transparency. You can be fined if your fence is too solid, because apparently walls offend their delicate eyes. What they really want are fences you can see through, which isn't privacy, it's decoration. Basically, the HOA position is, yes, you can protect your dog, but only in a way that lets me watch it pee. 47. In some neighborhoods, you can't even keep a compost bin. Recycling food scraps into soil is considered unsanitary. The HOA would rather you throw it in a plastic bag and ship it to a landfill than dare turn it into something useful. Imagine telling your grandma, who grew up composting on a farm, that her coffee grounds are now criminal waste. This isn't environmental regulation, it's anti-fertilizer propaganda. 48. Believe it or not, some HOAs regulate bird baths. That's right, put out a little stone basin for sparrows and you're suddenly destabilizing the community. Apparently, the sight of birds drinking water is too wild for suburbia. Imagine banning literal baths for birds while simultaneously allowing golf course sprinklers that waste gallons a day. It's not about water, it's about reminding you that even pigeons need permits. 49. Some boards fine you if your house number isn't visible enough. Not just visible, visible their way. Wrong font? Fine. Wrong color? Fine. Wrong size? Fine. Basically, your house could be burning down, the fire department could find you in seconds, but if your numbers aren't HOA-approved Helvetica, you're still getting a letter. It's emergency management, but make it petty. 50. Certain neighborhoods ban clothes in windows, but also fine you if you don't have curtains at all. That's right, you're fined for having too much fabric and for not having enough. It's the HOA version of Goldilocks. Your windows must be just right. And by just right, they mean beige blinds, beige curtains, beige everything. The goal isn't privacy, it's conformity. Basically, they want your home to look like it was staged for a funeral at all times. 51. And finally, the dumbest, most poetic rule of all. In some HOAs, you can be fined for unsightly behavior. No definition. Just unsightly. Which means if you sneeze too loudly, wear the wrong shirt, or even just exist in a way the board doesn't like, you're guilty. It's the HOA equivalent of vibes. Imagine being fined for your aura. At that point, why bother with houses at all? Just move into a beige coffin. They'll love the conformity, and you'll finally be HOA compliant forever. And there you have it. 51 ways suburban life proves that freedom ends where beige begins. HOAs aren't protecting property values. They're running a dictatorship with clipboards. Now it's your turn. Which rule deserves life in prison? Or better, what's the dumbest one you've ever seen? Drop it in the comments, vote for the worst offender, and if you want even more of this madness, hit like and subscribe. Trust me, we've barely scratched the surface of human stupidity.